CNN never ceases to amaze me. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about CNN defending Florida's Republican Governor Ron Desantis and destroying his potential Democratic opponent in the upcoming governor's race in the process. Now, I was pretty surprised at this because normally when you're watching CNN, it's a lot of propaganda from the left, okay? If they don't outright lie, they'll misrepresent certain facts. They won't say certain things to make their side, the left, look good and their enemy, the right, look bad. But in this case, they did not do that. And I think that the lady, I forget her name, I think she's the Florida Agricultural Commissioner. I'll put her name in the box, but I think she was not really prepared for this. Now, before I go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see and hear what I was talking about after we get done watching that. I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said and done there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep, detailed analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
We've got to try something different. Follow the equation that got me elected in 2018.
Oh, okay. A lot of your it didn't work for Bill Nelson then, but let's move on to you. Let's focus on you because you're the one running. You've been very critical of Governor DeSantis' handling of the COVID pandemic. Listen to what he said earlier this spring.
If you look at what's happening in South Florida right now, I mean, this place is booming. It would not be booming if it was shut down.
The data backs it up. I mean, Florida has a 4.8% unemployment rate, well below the national average. The per capita death rate from COVID-19 is 27th, nowhere near the highest. Do you think he deserves credit for that?
No, I don't think he deserves credit. He had a very laissez-faire, hands-off approach to COVID. First of all, there was a lack of transparency during the entire pandemic. He had, no information that was coming out of our nursing homes, no information that was coming out of our prisons.
He was one of the quickest governors to move to lock down the nursing homes, the opposite of what happened here in New York.
Well, the problem was that he also wasn't giving information, and so made orders very confusing to the people of our state. Local governments are the ones that stepped up and took leadership here, and then he dismantled their power along the way. So the people that really should take credit for what is happening here in our state are our local governments, are our local businesses that also stepped up, our food stores that made sure that there was social distancing inside of them, the restaurants that made sure that they had the QR codes. So it's the private businesses and our local government that stepped up. Ron, the entire time, not only was not empathetic towards the people of our state, but was very confusing on the way he was leading our state.
I hear your points on the messaging. I'm just asking you, Commissioner, since you're running to be governor of Florida, about the hard data while Ron DeSantis was and remains governor. And you can't argue that the unemployment rate in Florida right now is half what it is in New York and California. And it is 27th on the list when you look at COVID deaths. My question is, all your criticism of him saying he didn't shut down soon enough, calling for mask mandates statewide, looking at the data, did he have it right and did you have it wrong?
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, that was something to see. That was something. First of all, thank you to CNN for telling the truth, at least a little bit, because normally, like I said, they don't really do that. They obfuscate certain facts. They're trying to attack the right. It's always about hating Trump, and Trump did this, Trump did that. Anybody that's kind of linked to Trump sounds similar to Trump. If you ever shook Trump's hand or took a picture with him or anything like that, then you're the enemy. But they did not do that in this instance. They were very honest. And like I said, the lady, she was caught off guard talking about, oh, we didn't have the information. We didn't have this, we didn't have that. It's like, well, look, you have a very low rate of the virus in your state. DeSantis in Florida, they were one of the first states to prioritize the elderly because remember, there was this whole, controversy about this particular town. I think it might have been Belglade out there in Palm Beach County, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But it's kind of a rural place, mostly black. And the people were saying that there wasn't a vaccine center anywhere near them because Publix got it, and Publix had donated some money to Ron DeSantis' campaign. So then they were trying to say, oh, it's some quid pro quo, it's pay for play, rather than giving it to CVS and or Walgreens, they gave it to Publix because of the money. Meanwhile, they gave it to CVS and Walgreens first, and their priority was to get to the elderly in the nursing homes and whatnot, right? So they had it first. And there's a CVS and a Walgreens in Belle Glade. They gave it to Publix later because 90 to 95% of seniors live within 1 or 2 miles of a Publix, and they're everywhere. So it made sense for that to be a distribution point. So the story that the mainstream media wanted to get out there just wasn't true from the beginning. It was disproven from the beginning. And a place like CNN would normally push a fake story like that. As a matter of fact, it might have been them that pushed it. I'm not really sure. If you guys know more about that, let me know in the comments below. But they didn't do that here. They talked about how he prioritized the elderly. He did not have these virus-infected people in the nursing homes, unlike your man Bill de Blasio, or what's his name, Andrew Cuomo. Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, I'm sure he was involved with it as well, but really it was Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, who allowed it to happen, not just in New York City, but all over the state of New York. And the majority of the virus deaths came from nursing homes and elderly people. So DeSantis is doing everything right. And as a matter of fact, people are moving to Florida from all over the country, especially a place like New York. So when the lady goes on there and says that he's not doing this, he's not doing that, then why is everybody flocking to Florida? Why is it that nobody can really try to slander him? This whole thing about 60 Minutes and this story about Belle Glade and you want to prioritize Publix and you're racist for not giving black folks the vaccine, that fizzled and died immediately. Almost as soon as they put that story out, it died because the proof is in the pudding. You can't deny what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida. And I'm glad that he's there because, remember, it could have been Andrew Gillum, and we know how that ended. It ended in a pretty a nasty and weird way, but that's a different story, and I digress. The whole point is that it could have been Andrew Gillum, and that would have been terrible for the state of Florida. Absolutely terrible. This guy can't even manage his own life right. You live in 2 lives. You can't even keep your private business private, so how are you going to run the entire state of Florida? Probably just as well as you run everything else, which is not very well. DeSantis is doing great. And I think DeSantis is a leader in what I kind of look at as a coalition of states, right? When DeSantis does something, like as far as banning critical race theory, you know, his stance on the vaccine and reopening and masks, when he does things in Florida, other similar states tend to follow. At least just kind of what I see. You know, the critical race theory thing, I think that really kicked off in Florida. At least that's when it got very popular to ban, because this is a problem that's been going on in schools for a while now, and it's coming to a head recently because of all this LGBT stuff and the Black Lives Matter stuff, all the money that's flowing in it. They're really pushing hard. You got programs on television. You got stuff in libraries, little kids section with LGBT books. If somebody wants to be LGBT as an adult, I have no problem. But why, as a 5 or a 6-year-old, how can they identify as LGBT? Doesn't that refer to your sexuality? Why are we talking about sexuality when we're talking about little children? Okay, so critical race theory and all this LGBT stuff that's wrapped up in critical race theory for some reason, all of that needs to just come to an end when you're talking about public school. Florida, they were on the front line of it. And I think Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, other places, Mississippi, Alabama, other places, they followed DeSantis' lead. Now, it was funny when the lady was talking about, it might have been in that clip I showed or in a different clip. And if you want to see the full thing, I'll try to link to that in the description box. But she was saying, oh, I'll be here for the full time, not like Ron DeSantis. So basically, she even acknowledges how well he's doing. He's doing so well that he could run for president and win. So she's even acknowledging it. So it's like, all right, if you're trying to become the governor of Florida, saying that your opponent is so good he could become the president and win is not a very good way of doing it. You're saying right there that he's better than you are. It makes no sense. Florida is doing great. DeSantis is doing great. He's become a leader, and he could become the next president of the USA. If you're going to be a Democrat trying to follow him, it's going to be very hard, because why would anybody vote for you if the things that the former governor did were working? They're going to want him again, or someone just like him, not you. Even CNN, a far leftist news network, is able to understand that. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what CNN did as far as defending the truth, defending Ron DeSantis in Florida? I mean, at a certain point, you can't not defend it. Everyone knows that he's doing a great job. Even a lot of these leftists that don't like conservatives or don't like conservative states, or they want to go to Florida, they definitely want to do that. They could escape from New York and go somewhere else up there in the Northeast. They can go to Massachusetts. They can go to Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, maybe even like Philly, Jersey, D.C., but they want to go all the way down to the southernmost state in Florida with a Republican governor who is very well known for being conservative. They want to go down there where Trump is at. They might want to move to Mar-a-Lago, but they talk about how bad conservatives are. They understand, regardless of how they feel about conservatives, how they tell you how they feel or how they vote, they realize where things are the best. Nobody can deny what DeSantis is doing, regardless of how they feel politically. Even the lady trying to run for governor understands that he's doing so well that he could become the next president in 2024 fairly easily, in my humble opinion. But did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong here? Do you agree with me? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.